Liz Green.
BBC Radio Leeds.
It's 8:40. Now, the Bradford West Respect MP, George Galloway, has launched an attack on the Home Office after a far-right group walked into several mosques in the city and handed out Bibles, flyers and reportedly shouted abuse. This was over the weekend in Bradford. Now, West Yorkshire Police say they're looking into whether the group, called Britain First, have actually committed any offence. George Galloway's not pleased and he's on the line now. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, if 10 Muslims had invaded 10 churches, handed out what you call flyers, but were in fact filthy, defamatory, racist literature attacking the people in the church, if they were shouting about paedophile priests, trust me, this would have been the first item on your news on Saturday, never mind a late item on Tuesday morning. And you wouldn't have described them as flyers. You wouldn't have said they'd walked in to the churches. You'd have said they'd invaded, desecrated those churches. And so they would have. So I'm furious, both at the media and government silence on this and the police quotation that you've just given me, because the police told us yesterday that they were treating this very seriously indeed. Now you're saying, and I'm sure you're not inaccurate because you're one of the few journalists I depend on and trust, that they don't even know if an offence has been committed. Well, if that's not a set of offences, then I'm a Dutchman.
We had David Ward, the Liberal Democrat Bradford MP, on the show yesterday, George, and he said this: we must be very careful not to make things worse in this situation. You are clearly angry and you've been articulate in expressing why, but are you not inflaming a situation, giving it, if you like, oxygen, when perhaps that's not wise?
Well, would you say that when Anjem Choudhury and his lunatics are burning poppies? 10 of those are worth what? 100 of these white fascists from Britain First? You're never slow to give the oxygen of publicity to a tiny handful of Islamic extremists. But we're supposed to keep this quiet, even though elderly Muslims are now frightened to go into the mosque on a quiet afternoon. Mothers are scared to drop their children off for religious education lessons while they go about their other duties in case these men come back. And these men are boasting that they are going to come back. And they're going to come back not just in Bradford, but all across Yorkshire. So the Muslim community is extremely alarmed, not just at the actions, very well organised actions, of this fascist grouplet, but at the attitude displayed by officialdom, including the media, and from what you say, I didn't know that quote from David Ward.
OK, you have written to the Home Office. You are asking the Home Secretary to ban this political group, Britain First. You want them banning?
Yes, and I think the same about the EDL. These people exist only to cause trouble in our society, between different parts of our society. And you're in Leeds, I'm in Bradford. The society here cannot afford to be turned against each other. And yet that's the very point of this organisation. But I was also complaining to Theresa May that if just one church, never mind 10, let alone a synagogue, had been so desecrated, she'd have been on the first train up here in order to make an electioneering photo call visit. But the Home Office hasn't even phoned, written, or made any kind of statement to a whole community. I mean, I'm representing tens of thousands of people here, Liz. A whole community has not heard a cheep from its government that's never done opining on other matters relating to the Muslim community.
We'll let you know if the bird sings. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bradford West Respect MP George Galloway. Unequivocal, as usual. 8:45.
West Yorkshire Travel.
BBC Radio Leeds.